Hello, I am Suzette, Dream Team member here at Art Anthology. Today, I am going to show you how to make this beautiful journal page using Art Anthology products. Gather your supplies and let's get started.
Alright, for this project, we're gonna make a journal page. I am gonna be using this new stencil I have called Blossom. And before I use this stencil with texture paste, I am going to do a fabulous background using some dimensional paints from Art Anthology. I'm just gonna be using a palette knife and just putting them on randomly. I'm not really gonna be overthinking it. So let me begin with the red color. This one is actually called Ruby, and they're very thick, as you can see. And it's a dimensional medium, meaning it can hold its dimensions. So if I go like that, it will just hold the strokes. Kind of behaves like a heavy-bodied paint. They're great for mixed media projects because they're good for texture and stuff like that. So I like when it's left with all the raises and stuff. I don't necessarily want that to be gone. So like you know the effect you'd get with a paintbrush is that you'd lose that raised effect. It would just you end up with brush strokes, which I don't really want in this instance. So you can see you can do loads of different things with it, and it maintains the texture. You can use palette knives that have patterns, which are great for more texture. It really just depends what you want. So I think I've added enough of this red. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off my palette knife and move on to another color. I like this dark brown for the bottom. So this brown is a sorbet paint, and it goes really well with this. The sorbet paint has a nice little metallic glimmer, like there's glitter or something in it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and add that down here. It will mix some, but I'm not bothered. I'm going for a nice rough look. I will also add some right here. And I'm just gonna play around with these paints until I am happy with how they look. Let me add my last color, and then I'll really start moving them around and getting a great background. So this one now is a little lighter. It's called Copper, and it's from the Metal Effects section. It looks really nice against that red look. So I'm kind of really pleased with how this is turning out without me even doing much so far. I think I'm going to bring that copper up into the red. And down here, I like how that looks down here, so I'm not going to go any further. I am going to add some of that up there though. This page is going to take a while to dry because of how thick it is, the paint I mean, but that's fine. I think I just need to add a bit of red back to the top up there, and then I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to let it dry. So I'm just going to add some more red here and here. Art journaling is very intuitive, so just kind of where you feel needs more or and so on. So There are no rules. Alright, I'm gonna leave that just like that now. And let it dry. Let me see if you can get a nice... There you go. How nice is that background? I'm gonna let that dry thoroughly, and then we'll come back and add our stencil, add our flower with our texture paste, but we want it fully dry before we start that. So let me just get that little bit off there. So yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna let that dry and I'll be back. Now our background is dry. We're going to use our Art Anthology Blossom stencil. And we're going to place this on the page, decide where you want it. I'll recommend that you use some masking tape to keep this on in place so it doesn't move around. And then you're gonna need an old credit card, something like this, a spatula, that kind of thing, just to get this evenly across your stencil. I'm actually gonna add one more bit of tape right here. So you need something that can just scrape it across. When you finish doing this, I suggest you wipe off your stencil immediately, because you don't want it to get ruined. This definitely will dry on it, and then the edges wouldn't be as clean as they should be. So I'm doing it fairly thick, as you can see, because I want it raised, because I'm going to try put the wax paste on it. So another tool that you can use is, as I mentioned before, is an old card. Or also these are sold in the hardware store. I do believe they're for plaster or drywall. And these are great. So just go scraping right across like that. And also old credit cards can do the same thing. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up my stencil now. Clean up anywhere I need to clean up. And there we go. It's very raised how I wanted it. Anywhere that you have any extra, just wipe it off with your finger or cloth. I'm going to set this aside because I do not want to mess it up at all. And then I'm going to put this back down and scrape it off. I'll get the rest of that back in there as much as I can. And then we can go ahead and put this away. As I mentioned, you want to go ahead and wipe off your stencil immediately. My cloth is drying up, so I'm just going to add some water. And both sides actually. Wipe under there, and then we'll wipe this side as well. Oops, careful not to damage it. And then put it aside to dry before putting it away. So when that dries, we'll come back in and we'll see if we can get the Art Anthology wax on the raised area only. We'll see what happens. I'll see you back shortly. To finish up here, we are going to, now this is dry, I'm going to apply the wax paste. This is Bronze by Art Anthology. You can use a little stencil brush, your finger, a cotton swab. I am gonna see how far I can get with this stencil brush. Those finer areas are gonna be difficult, and it's gonna be difficult not to get it on the actual background below, but it should work out fine. I think it will look great when we're finished. So let's just go ahead and gently add this all over the raised areas where the texture pastes are. I have added the texture paste to the raised areas that Alright, I've gone ahead and finished adding the wax paste to all the raised areas. Look at that beautiful bronze image now. And what I just want to do is bring it into other areas at the bottom. Just so it's unified. I'm just going to go ahead and use my same stencil brush. And there we have it. If you want to, you can finish up your edges